A lot has happened in banks over the last 5 years, and that's really as a consequence of the challenge by fintechs.
They are using data, using automation to streamline the underwriting process, looking at credit scores, fraud scores, instant decision making on 95% of loans. Some of the big banks in the US, they actually don't make money on half of the retail loans they're issuing. This is a survey from 2012, which was surveying banks and where they are in the process of automating, different parts of the underwriting process. So from compliance related to different concentration limits and different portals for data gathering. And the dark kind of blue on the left is using it. The medium is don't use it. And then all the way on the right is don't know. And then this is from Elevate, which is a fintech lender, went public in 2017, I believe. And so it talks similarly kind of how they are using data, using automation to streamline the underwriting process, looking at credit scores, fraud scores, instant decision making on 95% of loans. This is an overarching, overgeneralized question. But if you look at the role of, say, banks' ability to automate and streamline and use data in the underwriting process versus the fintechs, how would you compare and contrast those two?
I'd say fintechs are probably ahead of it in certain areas, and I think a lot has happened in banks over the last 5 years, and that's really as a consequence of the challenge by fintechs. Because if you look at what the loan market is, there is no differentiation in product. It's not like buying a car or a house. In essence, you want money. So it's not different. The money is the same if you get it from this bank or from this fintech. What is the only two differentiation are the price, your loan rate, and the convenience. And this is really where I think fintechs have done an excellent job on both, like having more competitive pricing as a result of better models, and making it more convenient through easy interfaces. But of course, it's difficult. So fintechs have their pockets where I think they're definitely competitive and ahead of banks, and banks are reacting to that and investing heavily and catching up, and in certain areas maybe are on the same level or leading through either collaborations with fintechs, or in areas where fintechs are more tailored, and banks usually have a lot broader offering. So that's I'd say. But I think fintech, to their credit, have started a really good process where, in the end, the client is the winner.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic point. Being broad versus focusing on a few specific areas. And I think that's been a big challenge for a lot of the fintech lenders, is because very often you see them focusing on, say, a few industries, or a few type of personal retail loans, whereas banks generally have just a much wider breadth of loan portfolio that they're comfortable providing. What are the main drivers as to why you see that shape up? Is it more just the banks have a larger balance sheet, they just have experience building the credit models across a wider array of industries? Is it that the fintechs just don't have the ability to have the models that scale across as large of a portfolio? Or why do you see that kind of more nichiness from a fintech lending focus?
I think banks are broader because historically they have been broader. I think it's really a big argument is the history. A big argument might also be that banks maybe have more of how to say that, social responsibility cover the whole spectrum. And I think fintechs, of course, if you start something and you want to reach scale, then you have to be focused.
Yeah, I was reading an article that some of the big banks in the U.S., maybe it was Bank of America, that they actually don't make money on half of the retail loans they're issuing, and maybe it kind of gets to that. Maybe the fintechs are right to focus on some of the juicier areas, and the banks, whether for regulatory or societal or just that's the way they've done it, have a much broader portfolio, but maybe not as profitable of a portfolio. Yeah, that's interesting. Hi, this is Alex from Winner Take All. Thanks for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the content. Feel free to leave a comment, ask us questions, and definitely make sure to join us on our next live stream.